think it's time we stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
Welcome everyone to Earth Changes News for Saturday, April 16th, 2011. Today I have two stories that I found that are brand new, and I thought I'd report on them. I'll probably have more stories tomorrow on my blog TV show, but right now I felt it necessary to report on these two important stories. The first one has to do with our solar activity. It says, this is dated April 15th by Science at NASA. Back in 2008, the solar cycle plunged into the deepest minimum in a century. Sunspots all but vanished. Solar flares subsided and the sun was eerily quiet. Ever since, we've been waiting for solar activity to pick up, says Richard Fisher, head of the Helios Physics Division at NASA's headquarters in Washington, D.C. It's been 3 long years. Quiet spells on the sun are nothing new. They come along every 11 years or so. It's a natural part of the solar cycle. This particular solar minimum, however, was lasting longer than usual, prompting some researchers to wonder if it would ever end. Newsflash, the pot is starting to boil. Finally, says Fisher, we are beginning to see some action. As 2011 unfolds, sunspots have returned and they are crackling with activity. On February 15th and again on March 9th, Earth-orbiting satellites detected a pair of X-class solar flares, the most powerful kind of X-ray flare. The last such eruption occurred back in December of 2006. It says another eruption on March 7th hurled a billion-ton cloud of plasma away from the sun at 5 million miles per hour. The rapidly expanding cloud wasn't aimed directly at Earth, but it did deliver a glancing blow to our planet's magnetic field. The off-center impact on March 10th was enough to send northern lights spilling over into Canadian border into U.S. states such as Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Michigan. That was the fastest coronal mass ejection in almost 6 years, says Angelos Varilidis of the Naval Research Lab in Washington, D.C. It reminds me of a similar series of events back in November of '97 that kicked off Solar Cycle 23, the solar cycle before this one. To me, says Validis, this marks the beginning of Solar Cycle 24. The slow build-up to this moment is more than just the watched pot failing to boil, says Ron Turner, a space weather analyst at Analytic Services Incorporated. It really has been historically slow. There have been 24 numbered solar cycles since researchers started keeping track of them in the mid-18th century. In an article just accepted for publication by the Space Weather Journal, Turner shows that in all that time, only 4 cycles have started more slowly than this one. 3 of them were in the Dalton Minimum, a period of depressed solar activity in the early 19th century, and the 4th was cycle number 1 itself around 1755, also a relative low solar cycle, he says. In his study, Turner used sunspots as the key metric of solar activity. Folding in the recent spat of sunspots does not substantially alter his conclusions. Solar Cycle 24 is a slow start, he says. So we don't exactly know what's going to be, but according to this, it's rapidly picking up. And the other story I wanted to get to is a story, believe it or not, if I can find it, of a newborn tropical storm, which is the strongest thunderstorm offshore. It says NASA sees Australian newborn tropical storm Errol's strongest thunderstorm offshore. It says the low pressure area, this is also by, this was dated April 15th. The low pressure area, formerly known as System 922S, has strengthened overnight and developed into Tropical Storm Errol today, April 15th. Infrared imagery from NASA's Aqua satellite showed strong thunderstorms near Errol Center, but they remained offshore from Western Australia's northern coast. An infrared image on April 14th from NASA's Atmospheric Infrared Sounder instrument that flies aboard NASA's Aqua satellite shows that Tropical Storm Errol's strongest thunderstorms with the coldest, highest cloud tops were offshore from the north coast of Western Australia. Those thunderstorms had cloud top measuring as cold as or colder than minus 63 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 52 degrees Celsius and brought heavy rainfall. Multispectral satellite imagery also showed a well-defined center of circulation in Errol and bands of thunderstorms wrapping around its southern and western edges. Tropical Storm Errol has sustained winds of 40 knots or 46 miles per hour with higher gusts and is kicking up rough surf along the northern coast of Western Australia today. Errol's center was about 270 miles west of Darwin, Australia, near 13.1 south latitude and 126.3 east longitude. Errol is currently drifting south-southwestward at 2 knots, approximately 2 miles per hour, but is expected to start moving to the west-northwest as a result of a strengthening ridge of high pressure building up over Western Australia. And then it just ends as saying the Australian Bureau of Meteorology noted that Errol may intensify on April 16th as it continues to move away from the Kimberley coast of Western Australia. So those are the two stories I wanted to get to, guys, because they're brand new, and I got them, of course, off Earth Changes TV. So I save you guys the time of looking for the articles that are important. And that's pretty much it. Tomorrow is the Blog TV show, of course, for everyone who wants to watch. I really would appreciate everyone come in. We'll have a good time. Talk about anything you want to talk about, really. Take questions and stuff. And I added a few things on the page, which I'll talk about tomorrow. And hopefully everyone will be there. It's at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can get there by blogtv.com /people/SamF1966. Hope to see everyone there tomorrow. This has been Earth Changes News for April 16th, 2011.